Instagram to connect, and it might take a second because we're going to see what happens here. In the meantime, Nika, will you go check and make sure that we're streaming on? Uh, oh, it did connect. Nice. Okay. So do I hit a go live button? What do I need to do? How to stream? Select go live. Once you're there, we go. Go live. All right. There is a delay, but I have heard that they're um in the chat. There's some like unified chat here that we're gonna try.
You're live on both Instagram and YouTube.
Amazing.
From what I can tell.
Okay. What about Twitch? Are we live on Twitch? Are we interrupting somebody's gaming stream? That we'll see. All right. It seems like it seems like it's working, hypothetically.
Yeah, I'm looking at us on Instagram.
There we go. We've done it.
Here we are. It's a really trippy delay, but yeah.
Hold on. Let me bring up the hey everybody. Welcome to the show. We're gonna get started in a second, but because this is like a test stream, this part will be edited out of the final stream. So free. There we go. I had a good intro thing here. Let's see if this is it. Can you hear this? Can you hear?
Here.
Is the music coming through?
I'm not getting it.
Then never mind.
I'm also
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I thought that maybe it was. I guess I have to do it in the stream. It's fine. It's fine.
That's fine.
It's fine. All right. It's Thursday, June 25th. Welcome to the Jack Inacker Show, sponsored by FUBAR Pack. I'm going to do another take on that. It's Thursday, June 25th. Welcome to Jack Inacker Show, powered by FUBAR Pack. Powered by? That's stupid. That's not powered by.
So it's the Jack Inacker Show now.
It's the Jack. It's always been. It's always been the Jack Inacker Show. Yeah, it's Thursday, June 25th. You're listening to the Jack Inacker Show. We are here, broadcast and sponsored by FUBAR Pack. And welcome everybody out there. I'm going to do that one more time because it was choppy. The nice thing about doing this is you can just edit everything in post, which is great. All right. Last one. All right. It's Thursday, June 25th. Welcome to the Jack Inacker Show. I am your host, Jack Inacker. We are powered by FUBAR Pack. I am joined by my great friend and California native, Jude Mayer. Jude, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks. Glad to be here.
Now, we are returning from vacation. This is actually not the first stream that we've done for FUBAR Pack. We've done this a couple times now to varying degrees of professionalism and figuring it out, because apparently there are a million different ways to stream across like 8 different channels, and none of them work well, right? Nobody's figured this out particularly well, but I'm glad everybody could join us. Today, we're going to be talking about the fact that Donald Trump apparently gave a pardon to a hedge fund manager who bribed a priest, which is weird. He is asking, one of his friends to look into the governor's race in California. His attempts to drain the swamp in DC that he made, along with Jamie Harrison, blaming Democrats for everything that is their own fault, quite frankly. So Jude, but before we get started, Jude, we're back from vacation. Tell me about the Dominican Republic.
It was gorgeous. It was so hot. It was one of those. I was telling you earlier how I don't know if anyone's seen Friends, but that one episode where they
Everyone's
go.
seen Friends. That's a
Look,
universal.
I like to think that, but then I make these references or I make like an outrageous, comment because it came to my mind and like I had to say the quote out loud, and then it becomes everybody goes, "What are you talking about?" And I go, "Oh,
So
cool." These
so
were the
with your
office
big
people.
hair,
Yes, exactly. It was a big hair. It was a big tropical Monica couple of days, but it was it was lovely and worked out very well because we were both on vacation at the same time and I didn't have to do any work.
that is a top 3 episode. I think
Oh,
Monica going down there.
100%.
It's definitely it's a number 1 episode for like a sitcom goes on a vacation episode, right?
Yes, I
So like
agree.
there's the Brady Bunch, goes to Hawaii,
Mhm.
Scrubs goes to Hawaii is it also a pretty good one?
I feel like
Um
casts just like to go to Hawaii. I feel
I
like a
think they
group of
do,
people
yeah.
go, "Hey, producers, can we by
Can
any
we
chance
just go
like
to
go to
Hawaii?
Hawaii?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It works out. But like I don't know that it's a top 3 Friends episode altogether. I think it's good. It's good. Joey wearing all the clothes is the best friend, or Chandler. It was
I know
no, it
it's
was
Joey. You're
Joey.
right.
Joey.
Yeah.
Joey wearing all the clothes. Superior Friends episode. Probably the best Friends
Yes.
episode, you know?
I'm a big sucker for bottle episodes, like episodes that happen in real time that are like, okay, at the beginning of the episode, we have 21 minutes to tell the story, and it does it in real time, with the
Yeah.
exception of commercials. That episode it's the one where no one's ready. It's Ross trying to rush everybody. It's
Is that the
so good.
Brad
It's the
Pitt
one.
episode too?
No, that's a Thanksgiving one.
It's a
This is my. I'm an encyclopedia about
Wait,
this
wait,
stuff.
wait, wait, wait. The Joey wears all the clothes is
That
not a Thanksgiving episode. That's a different episode.
No, no, it isn't. So that's the one where they're getting ready to go to Ross's event. Like he's doing like he has a benefit,
Oh,
and Rachel's no one's ready. Monica accidentally changes Richard's outgoing number or outgoing message. Like that's the whole mess with
how do
that
you
one. And then
remember the D plot from that episode?
because
What
it's played in the background of my life since I was 11.
the Ms. Chenandler Bing. What that's my favorite episode. That has to be
Oh,
my favorite
that's the
episode.
one where they lose the apartment. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, when they do the transponster. So good.
The blood curdling scream by Monica at the end of that
Yes.
episode is fantastic.
Oh, it's
Uh,
so good. It's so good.
it sounded like she needed an exorcism, and you know who can perform exorcisms and also get you pardons is apparently priest Frank Mann of New
Segue
York
for all
City.
ages.
How was that? That was a good fucking
That was
transition.
beautiful.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about it just now. So if you don't know, so there's this guy, David Gentile, real bag of shit, right? Gigantic bag of shit. CEO of GBP Capital Holdings, and he defrauded 10,000 people out of $1.6 billion. Okay. Not a small amount of money. This is a major fucking criminal running a giant fucking Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
And he goes, and would you like to guess how many days in prison this guy served?
I would love to guess like while also knowing the answer, I would love to venture a
You
guess of
can't.
maybe.
You have to do the movie magic. You can't be like, well, I know
Oh, okay. Okay,
how
got it.
much
Sorry.
this
Let me
is. You know.
let me take it again. I'll take it again. Okay.
Oh, we're
Gosh, if I
leaving
had
that
to
in.
guess, goodness me, if I had to guess how much do you believe I'm a good actor? No. Do I have to if I had to guess how much jail time he got, I would say, look, we're looking at racketeering, we're looking at fraud, we're looking at I'm going 15 years.
Yeah, he ended up getting sentenced to 7 years in prison.
Okay.
Got
Okay.
sentenced to 7 years. And afterwards, this is Donald Trump's own Justice Department, right? He was convicted under
His
Biden
pet
and then
Justice Department.
sentenced. What? Yeah,
I said
exactly.
his pet Justice Department.
And then so he gets sentenced to 7 years in a federal fuck you prison.
Mhm.
And then After that, he serves a grand total of 14 days in prison. 14 fucking days.
Oh, so the
It
number was pretty close. The unit of measurement was the
that
issue.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just a multitude of, by 365. Like it is unbelievable. It is probably one of, if not the worst, like example of pardon bullshit. And people called this out. This
Oh,
was actually happened last year. But what we didn't know, and the New York Times just brought up this week, is the way that he got this pardon.
okay.
So what he did was, there has become this cottage industry that has grown up around getting pardons by Donald Trump. And so this guy goes and he goes to a priest friend of Donald Trump's, and gives him some portion. What was that? Just something like $2.5 million that he's spending on his own release, just by basically bribing people in Trump's orbit, and Trump lets him go the next day. You know,
Your
It-
next day.
literally, like within days, he's in the jail talking about how, he's got my friend Frank, my friend, this ex-priest, retired priest. I didn't know that priests could retire. I didn't know that was a fucking option, you
I
know?
thought you stayed a priest. Don't you
I
just
I thought it's like
interesting?
being a Marine. Once you're a
Oh
Marine, you're
yeah.
always a Marine. You can't,
Yeah, like
like,
once you have a doctorate, you have a doctorate.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I guess maybe if you do, like, if you retire as a priest, how do you fucking retire as a priest? Anyway,
Look,
this is not
if I thought that you could retire as a priest, I think that many more priests would have been retired for their actions. I thought that that was. I
one
didn't
would
think that was an
fucking think
option.
so. You could sail them away on a fucking boat. So Father Man, this guy, he's buddies with Trump. He gets this big pile of cash. I guess my question to you is, how how are we going to return back to normal after all of this? How do we get the pardon power and the clemency power under some state of control? Because
Yeah,
what Donald Trump's doing is so outside the pale of what anyone ever thought would be possible. You know?
yeah, yes.
How
Well,
do you wind that reel back in?
it's interesting because there's I'm of two minds about it. Number one, I think there's a little cat out of the bag thing happening here that people are realizing that um, there's so much like social currency. Like what I like about it is that people are becoming more aware of like soft power in DC, of like
Yeah.
these I mean money is it has always been like has always spoken, and that's a real problem, but I think people are becoming more aware of just how insular these communities are of this particular class,
Yeah.
and that
The
feels like a
Epstein class, if one were to
Epstein class.
classify it, the Epstein class.
Sure. Yes, and I think it, yeah, postmortem named after him. I think that it's a interesting like, so I think that that's an interesting part of it. The other thing now is that we never we didn't have too many presidents just kind of, to borrow a phrase, just play in our faces like this, to just
Yeah.
use this power. We've never had a, I mean, that's not true, but we've never had somebody this brazen in office just be like, "Oh, I have this power, so I'm going to take advantage of it," rather
Yeah.
than it reminds me of like, Clarence Thomas getting all of these gifts and trips and millions of dollars from his buddies now. Back in, now I'm going to forget. I think it was the 60s or the 80s. Abe Fortas resigned because he was making like $20,000 a year from some speaking engagement,
Yeah.
and that's that, and he resigned in disgrace. Like I think the norms have swung so far that now we have this whole new problem of people now see that that's what you can do in office. If you're the president of the United States, you can just give your buddies contracts. You don't have to do bids anymore for government contracts. You could just give them to your friends or whoever talks the nicest about you on Fox News,
Yeah.
or I mean, give cabinet positions to people that are completely undeserving. The decorum is so out the window that I think it's going to take huge reform, and it's also, I think, gonna take a lot more, just a lot closer an examination at the powers of the presidency,
Yeah.
because we didn't mean to make a unitary executive. The founding fathers were so clear about not intending to create this problem, that now, because for better or for worse, it was shown to us, it was broadcasted that there is huge potential for corruption, and now we're just going to have to deal with that legislatively. Otherwise, there's not going to really be a way back.
I think that first of all, you're absolutely right. I think that whoever the, Democratic nominee that's rolling into town,
Right.
it needs to run on some degree of the rancid and rampant corruption in DC, right? So,
Yes.
like the thing that blew my mind, and I think that bothered me the most, during well, it's night and day from somebody will come along and say, "Oh, well, there's always been corruption in DC." Right? There's
Yes.
always been corruption in DC. This is nothing new. This is just, how DC operates. And and I remember when Hillary was running,
Mhm.
and before she ran, she was going around and taking, uh, like, basically, like, suitcases full of money from big banks, right? To come in
Right.
and do, like, speeches to them, and it wasn't, like, a small amount of money per, like, speaking engagement. It's like $250,000,
Yeah.
that these businesses were paying her to come in, and, she wasn't the nominee yet. She was a private citizen. She knew she was gonna run, you know what I
Right.
mean? Uh, but it seemed it it's pales in comparison to what we're currently experiencing now, you know?
Yes.
It pales
Right.
in comparison with Donald Trump, doing all of his crypto bullshit and, going out there and having the UFC fight on the White House lawn and then paying him in his own fucking fake currency, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
it is it the rules in the past feel like they were being bent, or at least were being kinda, you did have honest dealers. There was never a scandal like this with,
Right.
involving money with Obama, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, but when you look at fucking what's come afterwards, it's so egregious. And I don't know if you've been following along with the Hunter Biden on Twitter situation.
Yes, and I was just going to bring that up, because there hasn't been a scandal like this with Obama. The closest thing that Joe Biden ever got to this level of like just silliness at this point, was pardoning his son. And I am so like, I'm so in the minority, and I know that, and it's not a good thing to do. But I was like, I mean, yeah, like,
Yeah,
yeah, of course you're going to do that. You're a dad. He's not a young man. It's not like he has to live to deal with this for the rest of
no.
his life. But that's look, after the presidency we had before him, I was like, I mean, dude, I get it, especially when they're coming after him and threatening to every day, like
Yeah.
with things that are made up. But him on Twitter, perfection.
Yeah, no, he learned how to shitpost incredibly quickly. I
Yes.
think that the Hunter Biden thing with the barista, whatever it was. He was getting paid by, some company, right, to potentially influence the president hypothetically, right? Or he was
Mhm.
getting paid for like his paintings or whatever it was.
Right.
And the the difference between that, the magnitude of it, I
Yeah.
think is the most shocking thing, because you can say that what Hunter Biden did was unethical, right?
Sure.
But the pardoning of Hunter Biden after the fact, for like crimes that he, like that had been fully investigated and probably were that the Trump administration absolutely would have been weaponizing the Justice Department to come in and do.
Yeah.
They're Of course they're going to do that. So I think that there's like a question about like how does the pardon power now that there is real weaponization by Republicans of the Justice Department, and then kind of the pre-pardoning of the administration that's leaving. how do we get out of that cycle? And I don't know. I don't have a great answer for this other than Congress needs to step in and limit the powers of the president.
And I mean, it used to be so much more focused. I mean, but because what's relevant has changed. It used to be what was relevant to the like progression and function of our government. Those were the crimes that got prosecuted.
Yeah.
Now it's what pisses Donald Trump off, and Donald Trump will always be pissed off. That's who he is. And also, the most frustrating thing is that it's just so clear. He just in every lie just a kernel of truth. He talks about these big corrupt political crime families, and I mean that's him at this
Yeah.
point. And that's the frustrating part is it's so silly to like be looking at continuing your to talk about. I mean, it's important that we continue to talk about Bill Clinton in the context of Epstein, but trying to talk about crime families, the Biden crime family, that's to me, that just sounds like an admission at this point. Like anything you're saying about other people, you know, is true and possible because you're doing it right now.
It's complete and total projection, right?
Yes,
It's
yes,
it's
100%.
every single thing that he says is just projection about like how if he's calling the Biden crime family, he's actually fucking talking about himself. I don't know that they think that they're committing crimes. I will say this. I don't think that they think that they're committing crimes. I think that they think they're being smart. You know what I mean? And for the longest time, MAGA, I feel like had a similar vibe to them about how they were basically letting Donald Trump get away with this shit because of the fact that he says, well, he's a good businessman, you know?
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and so I think that there's a level of corruption that they're finally kind of waking up to,
Well, I
you
think
know?
that I mean, we see that post, w like, talking about just his taxes even. When that was coming out, when they were like, "He's paid no federal tax for however long," the MAGA base was a lot of the time like, yeah, if I could pay less taxes, I would pay less taxes, and
Yeah.
that I get. I understand that. If you tell somebody about a great accountant for your taxes, you're talking about somebody who's going to get you the lowest amount you can possibly pay.
Yeah.
So like I am that's super common feeling. It's then when we get to where I feel like he's letting down his base, which is a multitude of ways, but they were released the files. That he ran
Yeah.
on that, and now has broken that promise to them and bring down the cost of living. And now he's talking about affordability being a hoax.
Yeah.
So there are plenty of ways where I understand being seduced by a figure. I mean, that's what happens in autocracies. What happens in authoritarian states is that there is a strong man, and people get behind him because it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel comforted, and then they break all their promises, and we're just in that stage right now. And that's what I'm hoping will be sort of a guiding light for people who supported him in the past. It's very frustrating that the racism, the rape, the sexism, all that stuff were not deal breakers for them, and it's the gas prices. But
Yeah.
I
The
guess
gas
come on over.
they went to they saw one I did that sticker on the gas tank and went, oh shit, it's fucking $5 a gallon. God damn. Okay.
Jack, it was
No, I'm
fascinating. I was talking about the mayor race here with a group of people, and I was talking about the policies that I like of Nithya Ramans.
sure.
She's DSA. And she's now I'm gonna like fact check myself on that. I'm almost positive. But
DSA
but
adjacent.
she
DSA
is
light.
she's DSA
DSA.
light. And I was talking about her policies, and somebody was, or I was talking about her, and they were like, okay, name like one policy you even like of hers. And I was like, okay, calm down, like name 3 songs of that band, like chill out. um and so I was like, okay, well, sure, I can do that for you. And I was talking about her policies around homelessness, or her policies around shelter access.
Sure.
It was an interesting policy that was attempted before, but this she has new provisions around it about that there needs to be at least a certain number of accessible beds in any given shelter. And I like this policy. And this person goes, what would that even do for you? And I was like, excuse me? And it just drove me bonkers because that's what I feel like I keep seeing is we're now he after the detention centers, after people dying in the streets because of ICE,
Yeah.
after the overturning of Roe v. Wade, people are like, "Oh, but my gas prices," and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well, I
"Yeah,
think that there is a
welcome aboard,
failure.
but."
Welcome to the resistance. I mean, like, I think that there is a failure. I will say this on that point, and to the conversation that you had with this person about an unhoused individual. You know, Democrats have done a poor job over a number of years explaining to Republicans that, in fact, it is cheaper to house
Yes,
individuals and do housing first models, right? So
yes,
when I worked in veterans homelessness in San Diego, we had like, like 15 individuals that were unhoused, made up like, I think it was like a million something dollars per year, or multiple of millions of dollars per year, for their expenses, right? Only 15 people.
mhm,
And the reason that it was because they were taking a lot of, ambulance rides. They were having run-ins with law. They were, there was property damage. There was stuff there, right?
mhm.
And court times and everything else that went into that. And if you explain that to folks, and by just moving them to permanent housing, being able to make sure that their doctors can visit them where they are, that they
Yeah,
have an address to be able to receive medicine, to
mhm,
be able to have a permanent place to rest your head. Like a lot of the other ancillary costs kind of go away, because if you cut your hand, and this is the way that I always explained it to Republicans in San Diego, if you cut your hand, you have a giant gash in your hand. What do you do right now? Like, what do you do in your own home? You cut your hand at the sink. What do you do?
you stop the bleeding.
Yes. And you go to your bathroom, you run it under clean water, you bandage it, right?
Mhm,
You do this stuff. You maybe put some ointment on there, and you take it easy for a day or two, right?
right,
If you get a giant gash on your hand on the street, what happens, right?
right,
You have to go to you it can get infected. You probably don't have the supplies to treat it. Then it becomes, septic. And then you've got to go to the hospital and
yes,
take up all that time. When you explain it to people in cold financial terms, sometimes they get it, right? And
yeah,
that would be the answer to when you say, to the person that says, "What did you get?" You know what I mean?
mhm,
My government didn't spend more money, and they are doing the moral and compassionate thing at the same fucking time, you
yeah.
know?
No,
It's
yeah.
illogical to do it the other way.
Democrats, we do have a really, I think we have like the greatest goals with the worst messaging,
Yeah,
and it's incredibly frustrating to have a conversation with anyone outside because for some reason, actually, it's not for some reason. It's because of very effective messaging from our opponents. We are the team hippies who waste money. And I don't know how combating
yeah,
that view is so important, especially because there are most estimates after figuring for all of the incredible millions and millions of variables think that universal healthcare would be cheaper than our current system.
yeah,
There are all these things that are like there are a lot of plans that we have that sound very kumbaya and are also economically sound. And that's the part that I wish that we were better at like pushing and being like, this actually makes a ton of sense for other reasons other than we should do this anyway because it's the right, proper, good human thing to do. Because if we keep
exactly.
going, just morally superior, so we want universal health care, fuck your taxes. That's not the message that's going to get people to be on our side. It's going to be you're going to pay less and we're going to be doing the right thing for everybody will be insured, or everybody housed, etc. And it's so silly the like way that we, well, man, silly is my word of the day, gotta cut that out. um So no, it's just so ridiculous to think about people trying to communicate these really grand messages with just some of the poorest communication styles I've ever seen of
Yeah.
starting with first, if you don't want this, you're awful. Second, if you don't want to pay for it, you're not a good person. And then for some reason, never starting with it's going to cost you less. It's going to be better for your city, for our environment, for this, for that. The long term Republicans talk about things in dollar amounts. And you know who I loved for this?
No.
Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
Elizabeth Warren is the best at this. Her and her chalkboard, her big old, just like teacher mode.
Yeah.
Kate McKinnon did that great parody of her on SNL. But she gets into this mode where she's like, I have a plan for that. And then she's got these. She breaks down the numbers because she can, and she
Yeah.
breaks them down in a way that is actually understandable. And I feel like that's the kind of messaging that gets people to go, oh, okay.
It does, and then the Republicans counterpoint with some bullshit about some awful name that they've come up with her, right?
Yes,
For her,
yes,
right? So like that is the retort. They're not retorting on the substance, so
right.
you've got to kind of beat it into them that this is going to be cheaper, you know? And,
Yeah.
and I think that this comes from a lack of leadership. And speaking of a complete and total lack of leadership and dog shit fucking messaging, Jamie Harrison. Jamie Harrison is the former chair of the DNC. And he being since he stopped being chair, has been getting into arguments with just like randos online. He just loves it. He loves engaging with the person that has like 20 followers, right? He is the easiest person to rage bait that I've ever seen. But more so, he made this statement coming on the heels of a DSA sweep
Hmm.
in New York. All the Mandami, uh, what did the New York Post, what was their headline? The Shameful Eight. Was it the Shameful Eight? Was it the
I
Shameful
don't
Eight?
know that. I
The
didn't see
hateful,
that.
yeah,
That's
I
so
don't
funny.
remember.
Let me
It
look it
was,
up. It was New York Post.
yeah, you'll have to find it. But he made this statement. All right. So I say this with no ill will or animosity. Strong start. Clearly.
No offense, bro.
Way to lie right out the gate. If you hate the Democratic Party, then don't run for our nomination. Don't use our resources. Don't rely on our volunteers. Don't use our infrastructure. Don't ask Democrats to invest their time, money, or energy in your campaign. Focus on building the party you actually support. Political parties aren't perfect, but they're built by millions of people who knock doors, make calls, organize meetings, and fight for the values they believe in. If you don't believe in the party, then don't ask his members to carry you across the finish line. And it was so incredibly tone deaf that
Yeah.
he believes that he still speaks for the party, uh
Right.
b that the party is clearly looking for something else. They're
Yeah.
clearly looking for something else, and they're finding it in Working Families Party. They're finding it in more progressive candidates. They're finding it in DSA. We had
Hmm.
Chris Rabb here in Philly, and I'm not a DSA card carrying member. I am not.
Hmm.
Like, you won't see like a big tanky poster on my wall here. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, I feel like I had the same politics in a lot of ways as Barack Obama in 2008, and I just stayed here. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a perfectly fine place to be for the most part. He evolved on some shit, and so did I. But I think that the lack of awareness on the part of the Democratic establishment to see these people as the enemy, right?
Hmm.
To see them as as lacking the voice of the party, because the party is not the establishment. The party is actually the people. Now I sound like a communist, but the party is legitimately the lowest level. They're the voters. That's who they are, and the voters chose these different candidates and going out and saying, like, decrying them as not a part of the Democratic Party is it reminds me of like the initial stages against MAGA, you know, and the Republican pushback and the denialism of
Yeah.
what was in front of their face, you know?
Yes. Oh, 100%. But I also think it's so interesting because he's guilty of the exact thing that he's talking about in his tweet. Like in trying to create a big divide between himself and those people, and talking about going and building the party you want. That's what we're doing. That's what's
Yeah.
happening. The Democratic Party is a huge tent, and that gets us into a lot of trouble at sometimes. But it also makes us pretty, well-rounded to some degree. And I think that it's so stupid to have that, like, that be dying on the hill of, like, don't use our resources when you used to be the head of the DNC, and like the people that the DNC gives resources to, 1 out of 5 Democrats will have someone that they were like, the DNC fucked that campaign.
Yeah.
They ruined that person. Like, it's the DNC is not necessarily, especially in the past 10 years, representative of what the party has wanted. It's consistently favored moderates. It's
Yeah.
consistently tried to get scooch progressives out of races or primary like it's I think that's so hypocritical for
Which
him to
which
be putting out that statement.
which is unbelievable. You're right. It is hypocritical. It's tone deaf. It lacks any sort of self-awareness of where the party is and how shitty the brand is for Democrats, right?
Yeah,
So for as bad as things are for the Republican Party, and they are, they're gonna
sure.
get absolutely knocked around in the midterms. I truly believe that.
Yeah.
The brand for Democrats and the reason that we're not sweeping away, running away with this in a million different ways is the fact that our brand is still of like the goody two shoes, no,
Yes.
nothing getting accomplished, cerebral only folks, right?
Yes.
And they
Yeah.
see what MAGA was able to do in the same time span. So, like, when they were able to replace X number of Supreme Court justices, they were
Right.
able to revoke Roe v. Wade. They were able to do a lot of stuff. I mean, Doge, absolutely destroyed all of our soft power abroad.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a certain bit of you can't come back to Democratic voters and just say, "Oh, you just need to vote harder." You know what I
Oh,
mean?
100%. Or we're going to get back to the status quo. That wasn't working. That's what got
Yeah,
us here. And I think that he should be kissing the feet of somebody like Mamdani, who excited the base, like
yeah,
got people pumped to go out and vote. And granted, I understand New York, that's not going to go red. But like, I'm saying, this is such a, and by the way, Nixon 5 go next. We haven't even talked about that yet, but let's fucking go. So I was so I'm saying, like, everybody has so much joy watching Mamdani run this campaign, watching Mamdani
yeah.
win. I think that's a blueprint. That shouldn't be somebody they're like trying to squash or trying to be like other. That's that frustrates me to no end. And we see that in a lot of races where they're like, oh, just because you're excited doesn't mean you should be excited. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Aren't you work for us? Like, you should be taking the pulse on what we want. Don't you do all kinds of expensive polling that I give you money for? Like, it's so frustrating.
I think that's the problem, and I think you bring it up is the fact that the Democratic Party has not seen Democratic voters as who they are responsible to,
Yes.
for a long time, right? It
Yeah.
is larger corporate interests and the lobbyist class, and as well as the consultant class that keeps them in office. And I'm not saying this to rag on Democrats. I want good Democrats. I want principled Democrats. I want
Right.
moderate Democrats. I want, progressive Democrats. I want DSA tankies, like I want the spectrum of people all falling under the Democratic banner. Because I think that it is a sign of strength there,
Yeah.
and
That we're a
leave
big
that
tent.
shit at the water's edge. If you lose a primary, right, go out there and say, thank you very much. You know what I mean? I would, happy to back you, and
Yes.
don't say fucking anything, right?
Mhm.
Like just go quietly into the night. You lost. You
Yeah.
lost. You
Yeah.
put up the L. Like you don't need to walk backstage and give the post-game interview and blame the fucking refs. You know what I mean?
No, 100%. And that's so we're seeing, I mean, like with again in like with Mamdani, we're seeing so much that he's accomplished. And I think it's really it's sort of mind-boggling to think about I mean, and I've seen a lot of this on social media, people being like, "Wait, he just did that." Like, could people have
Yeah.
just done these things for all this time? Like, the promises they made, those could have been accomplished in a reasonable amount of time. Because what we're missing is I mean, I think that I was a huge supporter of the Build Back Better plan. I thought that this, stimulus situation that Joe Biden got going was very effective. But I think that those were like pieces of legislation that very few that I could point to, other than like going all the way back to ACA, being like, this is somebody getting something done. And that's really a tough pill to swallow when you see every week something horrible that the MAG is doing.
Yeah.
Something Trump is succeeding at something in Project 25. It feels like every friggin' day. And then I'm watching Zoran Mamdani in just in New York City getting things done. I'm going, wait, that's what we need. We just need somebody to like do it. And I didn't realize it was so easy until, and
Did you
obviously
see
it's
the
not and
Josh
it's different. But
Johnson bit about this?
oh, I don't
The
think I
Josh
did.
Johnson stand up about he's talking about Mandami. He's like, wait, I'm not some generational leader. There's a do something button right here.
Right, right.
All
I
I
just
needed to
turned
do
off the
was
killing
here's
puppies
this.
machine and I
Yeah,
started, yeah, exactly.
I just
Yeah.
fucking push this button over and over again. I don't know. This is actually a blueberry for I don't know why I had this on my desk. It's a blueberry for a Pikachu.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
well, it's
Uh
probably missing
yes, I know. Well, my dog
it.
just tried it. But Bandami found the button that said do shit,
Yeah,
and just spam that.
yeah,
And he's like, I don't know why people weren't doing it before, you
yeah.
know?
I think conversely on the other side of our party too, we're seeing like the people, like why people were suddenly responding to Gavin Newsom. It was because he was like, okay, I'm sort of just going to stop playing by the rules of like what is nice and what is like social decorum or proprietous,
Yeah.
and start being and play. Not that I really love sinking to their level, because I like to try and be Michelle Obama, but
You
damn if it
can't
didn't
be.
feel
You
good.
gotta kick
I
them in
know.
the teeth now. They go low,
Well,
you kick them in the teeth.
and that's the thing, is that it felt so good to see somebody at least recognize the crazy and try and respond to it on what felt like a matching level,
Yeah.
and say I'm actually not going to put up with your hateful rhetoric. I'm going to, and like sit there and take it and say like nice, platitudes. I'm going to say, okay, you want to post an AI video of you like shitting on all of New York City or all of California?
Yeah.
Okay, well, fuck you, your tan's bad and your hairline sucks. Like, it's just, I don't love an ad hominem, but there is at some point where it's like, what else are we like? We need somebody who feels like they're fighting for us, and I think that that's what, on the total other side of our party, he tapped into somebody who feels like he's fighting in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's at least refreshing.
it
It's
is.
not like look, Gavin is not my number one pick
Me neither, but
for president.
I like that.
Is he gonna be better than JD Vance? Absolutely.
Yes.
Speaking of the California governorship, what's
Uh,
going on with Donald Trump asking his buddies to investigate the current
yeah.
goings on with what's going on in California?
He was actually in your backyard. He was in Pennsylvania, and he was speaking at this rally. I think it was for
Gavin
truck.
was.
No, sorry, this is Trump.
Oh yeah.
He was speaking at a rally for like a truck facility. That was how the New York Times said truck facility. I don't know what that means.
Do they make the trucks? Do
do they house the trucks?
do
No,
they repair the truck? Do the trucks sleep
exactly.
there?
Yeah.
Maybe the trucks get training there,
Yeah, yes, that's the truck facility.
Yeah.
So that's where he was speaking, and he said, this was the quote. Uh, Steve Hilton, who was running for governor, he was up in front, just about leading, no problem. Then all of a sudden, 4 or 5 days after the election was over, they said, Steve Hilton's starting to lose votes. I said, here we go again. I called up very powerful, very good US attorney in California, and I said, do me a favor, take a look. They're trying to steal the election, which there are so many things wrong with that, starting with the fact that California has 4 US attorneys.
Yeah.
But also to just talk about overreach. Talking about, do me a favor, look into this, will you?
Yeah.
Because it's not going my way. And then it was just such a clear, like, either he's lying to try and get himself to seem more powerful, because Steve Hilton did get that second place spot and he'll be in the runoff with
Yeah.
Becerra, or like that's that, which is that happened. So it's either him trying to look powerful, saying like, oh, the next day it happened after I made this call, or he's actually calling these people and being like, well, we're not winning here, so do what you can, which is,
Yeah.
we saw him do that already. He did that in Georgia. And that was he said, find this number of votes. We need this number of votes. So it's not out of his, I mean, nothing seems to be out of his purview as far as what he will do to defraud the American people. But it was just such a,
I mean, you see this
California
with,
hates him.
yeah, I would
and
imagine so.
and I mean, there are pockets. It's a big state, but they're California. I was like, when he endorsed Steve Hilton, I was like, oh, Steve Hilton's dead in the water. And now he's gonna be, we're gonna be facing off with this guy who's backed by Trump, which for all of the bad and harm that it will do, because I think people will be very reluctant to vote for somebody endorsed by him in this state. There is also this power that comes with it, because Trump is willing to exploit the office.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, like, he's willing to not only exploit the office, he's willing he finally has people in his corner that are willing to go out and do the rotten shit that they wouldn't do before, right?
Yep.
Like the Postmaster General coming out now and saying, "Oh, anybody who doesn't we're not going to deliver mail-in ballots to any state that doesn't acquiesce to Donald Trump's insane fucking rules
Yes.
surrounding voting, right?"
They want them all to turn in their voter rolls to the federal government.
Yep, among other things. I mean, like, the push now is to bring back the SAVE Act, right? And to pass the SAVE Act, even though the SAVE Act is fucking dead. It died already.
It
And
did.
he's saying, oh, well, if you don't pass that, I refuse to pass anything else, right?
Yeah.
He's currently going, what was it? There was a housing bill that there was supposed to be a signing ceremony yesterday where they were gonna this bipartisan housing bill that was gonna make housing more affordable in America. There's supposed to be a signing ceremony. It's supposed to be the easiest fucking thing ever. And he
Mhm.
goes out there, he cancels the signing ceremony, says he won't sign it because the Republicans won't pass his jank ass ridiculous proposal for like refining voting, right? And
Yeah.
stealing votes for himself.
Yeah.
Like it's so blatant. And I think this gets back to like what we were talking about before. When it comes to like bending the rules surrounding something like gerrymandering, right?
Mhm.
And both sides are guilty of this in the past,
Yes.
coming up with ridiculous gerrymanders. But what we've seen now is the weaponization of gerrymandering to basically do everything that they can to steal as many votes as they can because they
Yep.
know they can't win a fair fight, you know?
And they can't win on their ideas, or because they're boxing people out. They're not appealing to enough people to win on their ideas.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous. So I mean, like, you see this not only in how he's weaponizing the Justice Department, not only how he's weaponizing the federal government, but now it seems like DC is fighting back. It seems like DC is fighting back a little bit single cell organisms in DC are on a rampage against the federal government in the form of algae.
You
They have,
betcha.
they have taken they're making algae great again by taking over the link or the reflecting pool. And it seems that uh the reaction to by Trump is not saying, "Hey, we fucked up." Right? We
No.
hired a third-rate person to line this thing. It was a stupid idea to begin with. It
Yeah.
was never going to work. They couldn't just go out there and admit they fucked up, right?
Because
And
they can't. They never have.
impossible,
Yeah.
impossible. So now, catch us up. They're not only arresting people, but
Yeah.
they're putting up giant fences around the reflecting pool because touching the water
Yeah.
it's mystical water, you
It's
know?
vandalism now to touch the water. And also not even getting into the irony about putting up fences around the reflecting pool, making reflecting impossible. I love there was a great tweet, and I'm not gonna know the person, but damn it, David didn't make me laugh. That was like I think it's almost too on the nose to have a narcissist obsessed with a reflecting pool. And it's yeah, like he's narcissist staring into the lake, and he can't deal with it, so he put up fences. And this is so funny to me because the other part of it that was just so poignant and like great symbolism. I wish somebody was writing this instead of it happening to our country.
Yeah.
Is he wanted to make the whole bottom of it like a bright blue color, like American flag blue, but it wasn't actually American flag blue. It was like much lighter, and the bottom of the pool was always sort of like obsidian kind of black, dark gray,
Yeah.
in
It's
order for
granite.
you to be
It's
able to reflect. Like it genuinely, like that word is literal when it comes to, it's supposed to have an appearance of a mirror so you can see the monuments in it, and so that also it's like it can't get any, it's in the title, man. Like
yeah.
that's how I feel about it. Is it's just like the most obvious just disregard. I'm going to make it look like Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to put white, gold plaques on every door in the White House because he forgets where his bedroom is. Like he just wants to tackify the whole park. And so the one thing that happened that was of note to me was there was an Olympian who was detained for 5 hours after touching a piece of the blue crap that's floating to the surface. David Hearn
The
was he
skin, I believe it's the
yes.
skin,
Yeah.
the skin of our forefathers. Wait, what would be a different name for that? No, we'll just leave that alone. The skin of the reflecting pool is now peeling off like it's gotten a bad
Yeah.
sunburn.
He was, and okay, and it's peeling off, not because people are peeling it off. It's peeling off because it was poorly made. And he was arrested for destruction of government property. As though
Really?
any of this was his fault. This like water sports Olympian. I'm lost. So he was arrested for destruction of government property at the reflecting pool. That was June 19th. It was like last week, and he was detained for 5 hours. And Donald Trump immediately took to social media to be like, it was vandalized. Right after his arrest, it was vandalized. The pool was vandalized. There have now been, I think it's 6 arrests and 7 citations for just like being in the vicinity of this pool. It seems
Yeah.
touching the paint that's peeling. There is one story doesn't I don't have confirmation yet, but I have been seeing it pop up, was that there was somebody who took a picture of the reflecting pool, was detained because she was too close.
They
So
afraid
there's
they're going to
just,
steal the soul of the reflecting pool by taking a picture? Like
and it's
what
amazing for people who've already stolen the soul of the reflecting pool to be worried about that.
I don't it is so embarrassing. And
Hmm.
it's funny that I think the incompetency on deck right now is so incredibly embarrassing,
Yeah.
especially when you have the world coming to visit. right?
Yes,
I
yes,
I I
absolutely.
s I saw this great comment where it was like, yeah, that the world is having we're having a sleepover with the cousins, that our parents don't like, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes.
that
Yes,
and
I love that. I saw that.
all of the people that are coming over are actually really happy to be here, right?
Yeah.
They're having a great time.
Mhm.
It's the governments that between these people that are so awful, right?
Yeah.
And so degenerate and so defective that they just can't get their house in order, you know?
Yeah.
And the people are for the most part having a great time. They're being fine. So
And also being
imagine,
welcomed.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like the problem that I've seen, at least when it comes to our standing on the world stage, is
Mhm.
that if we had, I Kamala would have come with her own problems. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Nobody's dismissing that, but it wouldn't be fucking embarrassing like this, you know?
Yeah.
It is embarrassing to have this American government, you know?
Yes.
To be out just starting wars and then losing them. We were away for all of that situation with just giving Iran $300 billion.
To
Uh,
open something that was already open before we did any of this stuff.
it is every single thing he touches is just fucking embarrassing, and it would be one thing it would be funny if, we talked a lot about, like, how many golf trips he did on the first go around, right? During the first administration, "Oh, he's back down there fucking playing golf. He's down there playing golf." Man, go play golf.
Go
Go
play
go
golf.
go
Oh my
play
god.
golf. Jesus Christ. I've never wanted somebody to have a hobby more than Donald Trump. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
The man is just incapable of doing anything fucking right, and everything he touches turns to crap. It is astounding to me. Anyway, we do have uh one last thing before we go. Uh, we have some questions from the audience. You can email in your questions. Send them to jack@fubarpack.org.
Mhm.
And we will answer your questions. Sometimes if they're good. Or if they ask us what our favorite Friends episode is, we might talk about that.
Yes,
Okay.
that was definitely because someone asked, not just because we wanted to talk about it.
No,
Somebody
that's just
totally
because
asked about that.
we wanted to chat about that. I mean, it's like, wait, who's your favorite friend?
Okay, mine is Monica.
Monica's a good one. Monica's a
Okay,
good one.
okay. I get such horrible answers to that. I'm so happy that okay, thank
No,
you.
I mean, like, it's not fucking Rachel, right? Rachel's nobody's favorite, and they made Ross into a
I have a
complete fucking caricature at the end. You have a friend that's a Rachel
I do
stan?
have a friend who's a Rachel stan.
Oh
I
my
do.
god, why?
And I
Why?
know.
Why
But
would they do this to themselves?
I love Monica. I think also she's the glue. She's the show. Like that's the
No,
she's
Chandler's
the
the glue.
sister.
Chandler's
Okay,
the glue, but
Chandler. Okay, no, but Chandler's the show. Monica's the glue. She is everyone's friend and Ross's. She brings that. It's in her apartment.
I
She's
suppose,
that to
yeah.
me is like she's the world. She
The
contains the world.
it was Chandler to start, and then I think I ended up a Joey fan. I think Joey really had, other than the fucking started dating Rachel situation, which was just the dumbest fucking shit that ever happened on that show. But I think at the end, that's where I ended up. Tribbiani is a good friend. That's a top
Oh
tier
yes.
friend. You
I mean,
know,
he's a good friend. Like he's also just a good friend. Period. Like he's so kind to everybody. He's so sweet. He's such a
I watched
doll.
some of the Top Gear. Like, he took over Top Gear. Are you familiar with the show? It's a BBC's like car show. He
I don't
took
think I did.
over. He took over
Matt
Top
LeBlanc did.
Gear. Yeah, Matt LeBlanc
How
did.
cool.
Yeah, it was okay. It was okay. The other guys got I guess there was a contract problem. Anyway, this
Mhm.
is beyond the pale. Beyond the
Have you
scope.
seen? This is beyond the scope too. Have you seen episodes talking about great Matt LeBlanc content?
I never watched this show. This is
Oh, it's good.
the guy from The Office, right?
I
Oh,
think it is. It's the two British writers who come to America to
yes.
produce a show, and Matt LeBlanc. I think it's only 2 seasons. Those are good 2 seasons.
Is that the one where it has Patrick Stewart talking about like butts in a trailer? Do you remember that? Like, I think no,
I don't think
I
so.
think we're talking about two different shows. There's a
Very
different
possible.
British comedy from the guy from the British Office, Richard Gervais. And oh, maybe that was Extras? Is that what
Oh
that
yeah,
was?
I don't think this isn't Ricky Gervais. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
this is a different. So we're thinking about different things. But Matt LeBlanc is excellent in it.
Great.
Everybody's great in it.
I will go watch that show. Okay. The email address to send in your comments, if you don't type them into the chat and Nika will pull them out, is jack@fubarpack.org. First question comes from Donsol1789, who asks, how do you recommend we improve our messaging? I want to change how I communicate to Americans who oppose what benefits them.
Mm,
And I think that we answered a little bit about this before, about phrasing things and framing things in ways that they can easily understand, right? Like you have to the messenger needs to uh be somewhat appealing, right? As well. And
yeah,
and I think it's not just what you say, it's who you are. And I know this sounds very like, surface level, but there was there was a tweet that went viral from somebody on Philly Twitter, on Philly Twitter. And she was saying, oh, after the Mondami win, look at what we can do when we just act normal, you know? And she got a lot of shit for it. It was a funny tweet. And I think that there's some bit of truth to that, you know, that you can't lecture people, you know?
yeah,
Um, you can like yelling at them, I think is gonna be more effective sometimes than lecturing, you know?
right.
Like that they have to you can't tell them they are in a cult, even though they are, right? You have to explain things in ways that they can understand. The nuts and bolts, the nuts and cents. uh, my dad was an East Coast Republican, which makes him a, liberal everywhere else. Um,
Right.
and and explain my dad fell deep into like the Fox News fucking Newsmax brain rot thing that most
Uh,
boomer dads do at that age. Um, they either really get really into the Civil War or they just watch too much Fox News,
yeah.
one or the other. Um, I haven't I as a millennial, I have not picked my war that I'm gonna have a super, fascination with yet.
Oh, I can't wait. Let me know when you do.
I think it maybe Korea. I feel like not a lot of people
Ooh,
know
that's
about what's
niche.
going
I
on in
like that.
Korea. I know, right? Um, so but explaining to him, and I would need to sit down and explain policies because I'm the one that went into fucking politics
Right.
to him about what is going on uh with a certain policy. And I would have to frame things about like why this would be cheaper, to your point, right? How this affects him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and I know that is distasteful to Democrats to do sometimes. Uh
Yeah.
to explain it in the selfish way.
Well, I think we
But
want to be the party of you should care about this, which I
you should
get.
you should care about other people because caring about other people is a virtue, but
Yes.
we can't tell them that, I think is the problem, you know?
No, values kind of have to be second to how this will improve your life.
Yeah.
And that's the you can't start with you're a bad person if you don't already think this.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we fall short is that if you don't already think that we should be doing this and this and this for unhoused people or what have you, well then you're lost cause and you're not and oh by the way you're not really the religion that you purport to be and you're not and you have poor values and like that's just a bad place to start. And I think that there are people who are irredeemable in the as far as like, I don't want to be in a tent with them,
Sure.
but we have to be way better at accepting an imperfect ally. We just do. We have to get so much better at that because that's the only way that we're going to include more people in the vision that we have. And we have to be better about explaining that vision to people because we're not Donald Trump is not a good enough argument. That's been
Yeah.
years and years. And Donald Trump, by the way, keeps getting elected. So that's not the argument we think it is.
I mean, Donald Trump is now saying he's not Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like the goalposts move all the time
No.
as he's become more extreme and unhinged.
Yeah.
So like if that is not going to convince people, I think that maybe some of like we're not the administration insofar as like as it applies to the Iran war, for example,
Yes. Yes.
has been really effective. But the only way to explain to people the fact that the entire country wasn't out there immediately following us bombing a school full of children,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
and being like, hey, maybe this is a bad fucking idea. You know what I mean?
Maybe. Hmm.
Maybe. Uh, the fact that we weren't out rallying against the war, and it took gas prices to come around to get them to motivate them to do it, right, is the problem, right?
Yes. Which,
So
yeah.
maybe we have to start from the outset telling them the selfish thing, you know,
Yeah.
telling them, leading with that. And I don't know if that's going to fix every bit of woes when it comes to messaging, but it does feel like the moral failings, ethical questions no longer have value to anybody that isn't part of their team. Do you see what I'm
I also,
saying?
I totally do. And I agree. I also think that there needs to be bigger pictures being painted. I think that we have to stop
Mhm.
like that. I mean, that we have to stop doing like, we'll just, we'll just get smaller and smaller until everybody likes us.
Yeah.
And instead have a really bold vision and make that clear and make it clear how that's going to get done. And I feel like that was how Mamdani was so successful, and I think that's a solid blueprint about like, I'm not going to shrink and be not be who I am, and or not believe what I believe so that other people might like me a little bit more and I might get a few more votes on this
Yeah.
side. I think it needs to be sweeping change. I also want to say, because we just touched on the war and on gas prices, because everybody's talking about how they're coming down and it's all better and like everything's going to, from pre-war, gas is still up almost $16. I think it's 582,
Jesus.
1582 at each fill up. So I just, because it's going around right now and because I'm talking to people, I just want to say that if you're hearing how gas prices are coming down, February 2026, they were $15.82 cheaper than they are now. Still.
Yeah, and now you're talking at the fill up. This is the California rules because you need to fill up with like at least 3 gallons of gas, right? Is that
I think
I
that
had heard about that before. Is that still
I'm
going on? Is
I
that
don't know if that's still
seasonal?
going on. I have a hybrid, so I'm very infrequently there, which is a Pyrrhic victory during the next oil war. But I'm happy. And so, but it's true that that's a nationwide average for per like getting filling your tank. It's up 1582.
By the way, excellent job with the deployment of the term Pyrrhic victory. Just want to throw that you get a
Thank
gold
you.
star for this episode.
Oh my God, Jack Gold Star! This is
Jack
huge. I'm
Gold
gonna put it
Star.
on my wall.
Nika's getting Gold Star for putting these comments. Shout out to Nika on the ones and twos. We appreciate her. Digital director over at FUBAR Pack. Next question comes in from Harry. And Jude, you're just gonna make up where these guys are from. Harry, or Jude, where is Harry from?
Dubuque.
Dubuque. Harry from Dubuque.
Mhm.
What are your opinions on the current relationship between the US and EU and the recent anti-American sentiment growing across Europe due to the actions of President Trump? I think that there's twofold here. One, the anti-American sentiment um, most people overseas, if they're going to meet an American, probably is going to be some member of the Defense Department or military, right? So in Europe, we have hundreds of thousands, if not at the height of the Cold War, millions of Americans living abroad, and so the there is a when Trump started pulling people out of you know Europe, the European theater, some people were applauding it. Some people were like, "Hey, this is going to let Russia do a lot of nonsense," right?
Mhm.
And it didn't start just under Trump. What I'm getting at here is that every minor interaction that was kind of tolerable before under past presidents with our relationship with the EU is now exacerbated to the nth degree, right? There were
Mhm.
trade disruptions with the EU under Biden and Obama, right? Or yes, and there were disputes that came up. They were like finished amicably, right? There wasn't the lingering threat of tariffs being dropped at a dime. Um, the I think that there's two real problems here. One is that Trump is absolutely destroying our relationships over there with the Europeans, but more so is the question of will we ever be able to win them back, right?
Right.
Will we be able to downstream say, "Oh, no, make a deal with us, the new democratic regime of the United States. We will our word is still bond. We will not break trust with you." The problem with that is the expectation now is that what about the next guy? What about
Yeah.
when Trump comes back to office, or the JD Vance or the Tucker Carlson who comes into office? What is he going to do? So
Yeah.
how do you feel about this? Like, do you think we're going to be able to win Europe back? Do you think we can win back the relationships with the Indian tariffs have been high as well. There's been broken trust there with the pulling out of USAID in Africa, like all of these countries that are suffering now because of Donald Trump's actions. Do you think that they're looking at America and saying it's you, or do you think that they're looking at America and saying it's Trump?
So I'm hopeful that that distinction is being made because I don't believe that every person in a country should be held to the actions of the worst actions of their government. And we see that with a
That
lot of
sounds like you
nations
don't want to
around.
bomb a school.
No, and that's the thing is that, like, not only did I not vote for him, no one voted for that, and I mean no one. Like, that's
Yeah.
not like it didn't even go through the proper powers that we have, the checks and balances that we have in our country to deal with actions of war. Like, we
Thanks,
that
John
shouldn't have.
Fetterman.
Oh man. So I think that, to me, it's just, I'm hopeful that people in the EU and beyond will be able to make a distinction between citizens and their government. That's going to
Yeah.
be really important. But I get it. We're building concentration camps at Delaney Hall and in Texas, and that to me is like, I understand there be growing anti-American sentiment. Makes sense to me because of the things that are going on in our country. There is growing anti-American sentiment in my heart. Like, that is, I love my country, and I've always considered myself a patriot because I think that that's I am a bigger patriot than anybody who doesn't want to change anything about this country. That's what
Yeah.
we're built on. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Um, and if you love something, you want it to be better, and you want to hold it to the highest standard possible. And
Yeah.
so when I see it falling below my standards, it makes complete sense to me that other people around the globe are going, what the fuck are they letting happen? Because we've always said we're a democracy, the people, the government represents us, this is how it works, we're so represented in our government. that's been our party line as far as being a country is that we're free. We're free and we're represented. And
Yeah.
now they're going, well, why are you doing that? And we're going, no, 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 that's not us. That's not us. That's not us. There's some dissonance there. There's a problem. It doesn't quite match up with the appearance that we've tried to present to everybody. So I
Yeah.
understand it, and I'm also hopeful that there is more nuance and grace and understanding in the people that are abroad.
I think that some of that might be asking for a lot. You know what I
It
mean?
is. It
Like
is asking for a lot.
I think that and the only way I think that we come back from it genuinely is by a generational effort to do the right thing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know that even the next Democrat that comes into office is going to do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that is a tall task to ask of people um to fix everything in 4 years that took 50 years to build.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take that long to smash something down. It takes a lot more time to build it back up, you know?
Yes.
Um
Yes.
yeah. So on that depressing note, uh, Jude, where can people find you to find out more about you and what you're up to and support you on this wonderful journey?
People can find me at Hey Jude Mayer, like the Beatles song, on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. You can see all of my 5 threads that I've ever posted, and that's where people can find me. And I post political content. I do about some about California, some national politics, and go Knicks.
I you know what? Yeah, I almost said go Knicks reflectively, like reflexively, just because I was like my brain went go birds, and I was like, no, I don't care about basketball. I'm glad you're happy. I'm
I'm
happy
thrilled.
that you're happy. I'm happy that New York is happy. I saw somebody like tweet like, I can't believe you're supporting New York fucking team. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a shit about
No.
the Knicks. Who do I do? Why do I care about the Knicks? You know what? I'll go as far as to say I like when teams that haven't won a championship in forever get
Oh
to
yeah.
win a championship. That is cool. You know what I
I
mean?
agree. My
Like,
dad was texting with his high school friends. They were some tearful, sweet teenagers that
right.
day.
Like, I'm
Hmm.
glad that they got to experience that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Don't do it a bunch. If you do it a bunch,
we'll
I'm
see.
gonna get annoyed, you know? But like on that first one, it's kind of like when Andy Reid, who is the former coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, went to Kansas City and won a Super Bowl. It was his first Super Bowl. And like I loved Andy Reid for many, many years.
Yeah,
Because he was our coach.
because he's
You know what I
great.
mean?
A
He's
lovable
great.
walrus.
Absolutely. Great mustache.
Hmm.
And so the when he won that first Super Bowl, I had the reaction of going, "Okay, you know what, Andy? I'm proud of you. You've endured a lot. You've gone through a lot personally, professionally. I'm glad you got this one." The second one, I was like, "No, fuck you, dude. What are you doing? No, absolutely not. Absolutely." And then the
Oh,
third one, I was like, "Fuck no. You go ruin that man. You take that away from him. You strip him of any joy possible."
and
Because
I just hate.
that's the birds.
Oh, I just hate to do this to you, Jack. But my mother is from Kansas City, so I have been. It was an amazing. It
What are
was a
you, a
great
Kansas City
run.
fan?
Yes.
Oh, gross.
Well, LA didn't
Fucking
really have a
disgusting.
an
Get that you're
interesting.
banned.
I'm saying
If you
like
would like to be a
LA
co-host of
didn't
the
have
Jack
an.
Henniker Show, please reach me at jack@fubarpack.org. We
Yeah,
open auditions.
LA did not have an interesting football team when I was growing up. They didn't have a football team for a whole chunk
They
of
had
it.
the
I
Rams.
Yeah, but like who the fuck are the Rams? My mom was my mother was from Kansas City. My grandfather never missed a game. And so it was a whole thing when they started winning. It was the year after, it was actually 3 months after my grandfather had passed. And we were like, holy shit, he just like got right up there and asked for a favor. Like that was crazy. And we became very into it. And then in the I will never, the bandwagon fan accusations. Well, I will never beat the bandwagon fan accusations, because my mother's from Kansas City, my father's from New York, and I've been a Taylor Swift fan all my life. And so it was a pretty great time for me. I'll be honest with you. I was like, everybody thought I was there because of her, and I was like, dude, you think it? That's fine. I got family on family on family in Kansas City, but you can go ahead and think I'm here for Taylor. I'm happy she's here too.
You do have in your roster of fans of Kansas City,
Mhm.
you have Paul Rudd. And you know
I
what?
know.
I like Paul Rudd. I like Paul Rudd.
I
That's
like Paul
the
Rudd too.
nicest thing that I can say about the Kansas
That's
City
okay.
Chiefs. I
That's
like
okay.
Paul Rudd.
I like Paul Rudd too.
I like Paul Rudd. Um,
And I can say I love Jason Kelsey about the Eagles.
yeah, Jason Kelsey's great. I think his wife is great.
Me
I
too.
think people love his wife. They really do. My
Mhm.
wife loves his wife.
I do
Um,
too.
uh,
Yay.
yes.
So
So the
all that
Knicks,
to say, you can find me at Hey Jude Mayer on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, and I'm
perfect.
thrilled with the Knicks one.
How did you feel about Elmo? Did Elmo go too far?
Look, I get it. It's a
Talk shit about
you're
Elmo before we leave.
you're a kids show, and you're a nationwide kids show, and I get it. But here's the thing: Wembanyama was a bully in that series, and I didn't think that Elmo supported bullies, and that's all I'll say on that subject.
See, this just needs to be a sports fucking show. What are we doing talking about fucking politics?
I know.
One day, everything,
Yeah.
the dream, the downstream dream is that one day everything political will be fixed. And we
Yep.
won't have to talk about this shit anymore. And instead, we just talk about fucking, we could talk about the birds and video
Yes.
games. And it's going
I
to be
can't
great.
wait till it's all boring again.
I can't until it's all boring again. That's a great podcast title, honestly. All right. Thank you for your emails. Thank you for your comments. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate it. I hope that if you enjoyed your time here, I hope you'll like and follow and subscribe and do all that stuff.
And come back on Tuesdays, which is when we usually
yes,
do this.
Tuesdays will be the new day that we're doing this. So you'll be joining us on Tuesdays. Tuesdays at noon is when we're going to be putting that up. And we're excited to have you. So from everybody at FUBAR Pack, myself, Nika, Jude, everybody who's come along on this path, go check us out at fubarpack.org. Follow along with us, and thank you for joining us for the Jack Inacker Show. See you next
Have a
week.
great Thursday.
Bye. I don't know.